Hello, my name is Stephen Redman and welcome to another episode of Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we talk about everything to do with Christian theology books that are to maybe listed on a reading list for your bachelor's or master's degree or your seminary course. These are books which are of general interest to anyone that wants to study more about the Bible and wants to know more about God's Word. And if you like what we have to say, please click thumbs up on YouTube, please subscribe, please click on the bell. That way you will know as soon as we launch another episode of Pastor's Library. So today I want to talk about a series of commentaries that I have been asked by 2 or 3 people to include in this series, and that is the Pillar New Testament commentaries. This is a typical front cover. This is the Gospel of John by Carson, and these are really good solid hardbacks. They are blue underneath as well as a basic blue on the front cover. These are well liked. There are a couple of negatives I want to start with, which are not totally negative, but they will maybe give you a clue as to why I've avoided reviewing them up to now. One of them is the number of gaps in the series, and the other one is the age of the series. Now, when I did my master's degree at Bible college, they told me, please do not quote from any books that are much over 25 years of age, 30 years absolute maximum. If it's crucial to your argument, you might refer to one book that's older, but the crux of your argument must be supported by modern books. And so I started buying modern books, and my range of commentaries, for example, are primarily recent commentaries. And you'll know from the range that you can see in Pastor's Library that I am very engaged in reading commentaries. But one of the big differences between older and newer commentaries, I think, is the succinctness of academic language has developed to the point whereby a commentary that most people would have regarded as being excellent 50 years ago, compared with a commentary written in maybe the last 20 years, the quality of the language and the directness of the speech has developed as much of an art form as anything else. I mean, I read a book the other day which was actually 1972 in its first printing. And I felt like I was being taken on a dance, across a dance floor. I felt someone was waltzing with me when really I just wanted to run up to the buffet table and start eating. And my sense of the language was very good. I mean, it really was excellently written, but it was written at a pace which is not really 21st century pace. Now, of course, you might say, well, that suits me. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I am saying is that the modern commentator tends to be more succinct in their language, more direct in what they say, and probably driven with a lot more footnotes as well. A lot of the pillar commentaries are written over the 25-30 year mark, and they are a little bit more conversational. Now, for example, I have got Romans and Matthew that are both written by Leon Morris. Now, I like Leon Morris. I love his John's Gospel in the New International Commentary on the New Testament. But that has been replaced now for probably about a decade by J. Ramsey Michaels. And Leon Morris has left a great legacy of writing, but his voice is more conversational. It isn't quite as academic. And whereas I had one lecturer on my master's course who was much more conversational than the others, I learnt a lot from him. And I often comment that his legacy has been great. So I'm not remotely knocking Leon Morris. What I'm just saying is his style might not suit the new 18 to 21-year-old in Bible college, in seminary, in a university course studying theology, because it isn't quite the style in which we speak and teach today. So I'm very fond of Leon Morris. His Romans is very good. His Matthew I actually found really engaging. But these are ready for replacement now. And I am fairly certain that the Pillar Commentary series will look totally different in 10 years' time, as I think there's a flurry of new releases due. And this brings us back to my other point about the range, because two of the New Testament commentaries were written by O'Brien. Now, O'Brien is a really great commentator of his age. But an incident happened where he was challenged that he may have plagiarized one of his commentaries. He came very clean. I mean, he was quite elderly when he said this, but he came clean about it. He said, look, I've got notes that I incorporated into this commentary that are 40 years old, 30 years old. And he said, I wasn't maybe as meticulous as I should have been in writing down my sources. I thought I could remember, and I've goofed. Now, this is not to say O'Brien made any deliberate gaffes. This is just to say he did not correctly cite all quotes. Now, the result was that in the New International Greek Testament Commentary and in the Pillar commentaries, that's three of his greatest works, were basically withdrawn by the publishers and minced up. A lot of people say that's sad because they were very good works. But if you are quoting from a commentary for a substantive degree paper, you have to make sure that you are quoting completely and accurately, and you can't use a document where the writer has said, I own up here, I may have plagiarized. And so at the moment, there is no Hebrews and there is no Ephesians in the Pillar commentaries because those were O'Brien. What I'm saying to you is that the Pillar commentary series has got a number of aging commentaries and two that are withdrawn due to plagiarism questions. And please don't hear what I'm not saying. O'Brien is an absolutely excellent guy. So in all of these things, what I'm saying is the Pillar range, which looks good and has lots of things to be said positively about it. I mean, Carson, I think, has done a good work with this commentary. It is not my favourite, John, but I have friends who will tell you it's their favourite. I personally think he misses a couple of key points. I think that it isn't quite as powerful a work as, say, J. Ramsey Michael's New International Commentary on the New Testament, or a number of others out there, which I would rank as superior. But it is a good commentary. So what I'm saying is this: if you've got a shelf full of pillar commentaries. You've got some good commentaries. Most of these are written by excellent theologians, and they're a fairly mixed bag of their worldviews, but these are good writers, good authors. What I am saying is that the range of them at this moment in time is really up for renewal. For example, in 2023, Ephesians, which is one of the O'Brien ones, is due to be replaced by Constantine Campbell. A number of the others will be put right during the decade in which we are living now. But that does mean that this is probably, in my opinion, not the best time to be stocking up on pillar commentaries. The preface to them all says that these are aimed at serious pastors, teachers, as well as general readers, which sort of implies that they're not entirely academic. And to be fair, I would say these are not as academic as, for example, the New International Commentaries on the New Testament. But I think it's a little bit pedantic to say they're not academic, because these are not a book that you would want to give to someone who had the Daily Mirror reading age and say, get what you can out of that. I think these are books that are not to be dismissed. I think some of them are very good. I've said to you, I really like the Leon Morris ones. If I'm absolutely honest with you, I can't talk about the O'Brien ones. I've got O'Brien for the New International Greek Testament commentary of Philippians, but I haven't got Ephesians, I haven't got Hebrews. I would love to get a copy of each, but the cost of them on the internet at the moment is quite astronomical. That does at least tell you that some people still value them. So, what am I saying? The pillar commentaries are a well-written commentary range. They are definitely worthwhile and they have a lot to say. If you are citing them, or if you're citing commentaries for a piece of rigorous study which may lead to a degree, in general terms, I would suggest these would not be the first series I would turn to. But that doesn't mean they have no value. And as a pastor, someone teaching in the local church, that doesn't mean that that diminishes anything about them. You understand what I'm heading with this, don't you? These are good. They're just not quite as academic, quite as ideal as some of the other series that are out there right now. So I hope that's helped you. Pillar commentaries, I would suggest, of something I might be coming back to in a few years on Pastor's Library. But these are not to be dismissed if you see them cheap. If you see one in a second-hand bookshop and it's sensibly priced, why not include it in your bookshelf? It will always be good for propping the shelves up, if for nothing else. So that's the Pillar New Testament commentaries. My name is Stephen Redman. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please subscribe. Please click on the bell. Then you will know as soon as we release another episode of Pastor's Library. Until then, goodbye.